The better you can see this from the perspective of a seller and what they want, then you can start to craft your value props and learn how to present them properly. Welcome back. Super excited for this one. Obviously, you can see on the whiteboard and how we've kind of changed the intro. Today, we're going to talk about value propositions. Obviously, all of January is how can we do the most bang for your buck? What skills, habits, rituals do you need to add to your business to make sure that this year is explosive? Because remember, the whole goal is momentum. Amazon is a massive company. They have 1.5 million employees, but they're a high velocity company. They value momentum. They move quick. They move fast. And so when you build momentum, one of the best books on this is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. If you watch my channel before, you know I talk about this all the time, but it's the idea of Big Mo, is how do I go and build this massive momentum to my business? And so the past 2 videos in January, we've talked about mindset, how to have a solid, ideal peak state mindset throughout the year. We talked about the books to read, the systems that you need to develop. Today, we're going to talk about value propositions. How do you get so good at explaining your value this year that you close more buyers, you help more investors, and you get more listings? Remember, this is a skill-based industry. The more you can explain to someone in front of you that you're the right choice, that you're the one that they should hire, boom, you can close that deal by providing your what are called value propositions. We're going to talk about that today. In sales, people will pay more for what they want versus what they don't want. They don't want to pay for what they don't want. They want to pay more for what they want. And so how do you explain that? In Orlando, we've got realtors we're coaching. There's 20,000 other agents. There's so many agents. The competition's crazy. How do you distinguish yourself? If you can get really good at that, then this year will be the year that you explode, that you close more people by simply putting more inputs in, but also getting better. Steph Curry, if you guys have watched recently, he just crossed over at this massive accomplishment of 9,000 shots, three-pointers in the NBA. 9,000. No one's ever done that before. But he's also the greatest shooter that God's ever created. And he's got the highest shooting percentage, and he's made the most threes, but he's also shot the most. So a lot of times as realtors, we don't have enough at-bats. We're not putting enough effort in. We're not putting up enough shots. We're not getting in front of enough homeowners. But then when we do, we need to have the skill set to be able to close them, to make those shots. That happens when you practice. You study every day on skill set. You then write out your scripts. You join a role play group, which if you're not part of ours, what are you doing? It's $200 a month. Comment role play, and I'll send you the link. We've got realtors all over Canada and the US that are killing it, that are sharpening their saw, their skill set in that role play that runs twice a day, Monday through Friday. And I'm there. I'll give you feedback and I'll role play with you every day. Anyways, if you're writing your scripts and you're role playing, you're practicing in front of the mirror and you're getting good at this, then when you finally get in front of a prospect, you can close them. That's what we're talking about today. So super excited to have you. We'll go to the whiteboard and take the entire time to go through this and how you can explain all the different value props so you can close more people. All right, so every time I talk about a skill, a sales skill that you can go acquire, there's something that you have to understand first. So let's break that down. There are certain skills that are within this skill that if you go acquire, go to masterminds, read books on, it'll help you get better at this. So I'm gonna identify 8 different skills that you can go acquire on the side that will help you get better at this. So if you have a pen, go ahead and write this down. There's 8 of them. The first one is questions. Getting good at asking questions. So a super simple activity is with your spouse, your kids, other realtors. It's called the question game. You literally go back and forth on questions. What do you think about the market? What commission do you want to charge? Are you considering relocating? Have you bought an investment before? You go back and forth and back and forth. This helps you get better at questions, okay? The second one, telling stories. Get really good at being a presenter and a storyteller. Go read and watch everything on TED Talks, on famous speakers, Martin Luther King. President Obama is really good at this. Love him or hate him, President Trump is really good at this as well. but who is it that can captivate an audience? When you go through your value props at a buyer consultation or a listing appointment, it's essentially your ability to tell a story. That's how you can present your unique value props. So go read books. There's so many good ones on this about being better at storytelling. The next one is presenting. There are so many good ones on presenting, on how to stand in front of an audience and present, and how to structure that, how to quote unquote wing it in front of so many different people. How do you do that? How do you structure your conversation? When someone says, hey, what's your value prop on this? Okay, logically, I need to structure it this way, have a story there, a Phil felt found here, do this here, make them laugh. Cool. That's my framework. So how do you do that? So go learn that skill. Go study that skill. The fourth one is listening skills. One of the greatest books on this is obviously How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. He talks about how to be a better communicator, how to be a better listener, how to be a better people person and influence people. Your ability to listen to then tell the right value prop will help you close more people. Sometimes there's 15 things a realtor could do. Those are called value props. But the person you're in front of right here, they want number 3 on the list of 15. But because you're not listening, you give number 7, 8, and 12. But they only want 3. They only want number 3 on social media. That's the one they want. But you're not listening, so you're giving in these. It goes in one ear, out the other, and they don't work with you. Why? Because you're not a good listener. So go pick up that skill. Go read the books. Go learn as much as you can on that specific skill. That will help you close more people and understand what value prop to present to them. The next one is leadership. People want to work with people that they trust, that they feel are competent, that can actually get the job done. I want to work with a buyer's agent that can actually get me under contract on the house I want, that knows the market, that knows the neighborhoods I want to be in. I want to work with a listing agent that actually knows how to sell my home for top dollar, that has the experience to do that. So go study books on leadership. Go watch and look at YouTube on videos on like famous leaders. John C. Maxwell, if you haven't jumped into his stuff, holy smokes. Like I'm potentially opening a massive universe of leadership to you if you haven't read his stuff. That's really impacted my sales career over the last 15 years, is learning how to lead others and control a room with your presence. Tony Robbins, if you've watched a lot of his stuff, he's probably the best at this on controlling an audience. He's incredible. But John C. Maxwell is like the go-to person to learn about leadership. So go pick up that skill. The last one that I'll write on here, communication. You've got to be able to clearly take an idea, simplify it, don't dumb it down, simplify it, use an example over here, use a case study from a past client and communicate that so the client clearly understands that you're the authority figure, therefore they work with you. So when you're going through these value props, you've got to get better at communicating ideas to other people. So this is the list. Before we jump into actually how to do this, these are the skills within the skill that I would go acquire, that I would go all in and learn in order to do better and close more people. All right, let's transition now. So now you have the skills on value props, and we can ping over to this part. So now we're going to talk about the actual skills, the actual value props that buyers, investors, and sellers want from you in order to choose you as their realtor. So the second part that'll help you do this is you have to understand there's you and there's the consumer. So here's you as the realtor. Here's the consumer. You've got to think, let's say we have a seller in front of us. Okay, let's do a seller. And then we'll do they're a buyer. What 5 things does a seller want? What's important to them? Just in general. What's going to be important to them when they go pick a realtor? And then we can talk about experiences, strengths that you have that match what they're looking for. And so make this list. Make an entire list on your strengths, whatever they are. You can exploit the smallest strength and competitive advantage you have. You can explain it to be this really audacious advantage that you can overtake any other realtor. And so put that on a list. From a seller perspective though, what are they looking for? They want someone that has knowledge. They want you to be competent, to actually know what you're doing. And that comes from your ability to communicate clearly to them about the market. They probably want someone that can execute. They want someone that will actually put the ball in the end zone, that will actually sell their home and move this forward. That's what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for stress-free. They don't want a realtor that's going to constantly be annoying them and bugging them and having to have the sellers do so much work. They want to be stress-free and smooth. And so put that on the list. And then go through the rest of the list, and maybe this is 10, 15 things, but the better you can see this from the perspective of a seller and what they want, then you can start to craft your value props and learn how to present them properly. You can't do that unless you see it from a seller perspective. And then do the same thing on the buyer side. So you're going to go through here, you're going to make a list on the buyer side of what would a buyer want. And you can go look at Keeping Current Matters, go read articles online, and look at what do buyers want? Why are they choosing? There's so much data on this. And make a whole list. And then go over here and build your experience, your rapport, your resume to match that value prop. So if they randomly hit you in left field with number 5, and you've never heard that before, you'll say, hey, I can explain that with number 3. And then I know the structure, which we'll talk about, the structure of how to present this value prop to the person in front of me. And see how you can start to cross-reference these? That's why it's really hard in real estate to have a script. That's why it's so important to learn how to question-based sell and to listen and then communicate. Because it's not always going to be 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. It might be 1 + 9 + 2 = 12. But if you know the structure and you know how to organize this, then anybody can be in front of you. And all you're doing is trying to figure out what their pain points are, what values they need, and then you can attack that and you can execute it. So if you want to learn more about this, a lot of you have followed along, but over the past couple of weeks, we finally built the sales training manual for realtors. It's 142 pages, and we just sent it off to the publisher. We should have it by the time this video is ready, but there's an entire 20-page section on this. If you want this, in the video right here, comment sales manual. I'll shoot you a text. I'll get you the information on that. But this is a topic that you could study for a long time, right? We went over here and we talked about all the skills within the skills. Transfer that over here, and then you can close more people. That's why this skill, we're talking about it in January, you've got to learn how to do this so you can close more people here in 2025. All right, let's keep going. So now you've studied the skills. Now you have your resume built out. Now you have everything a seller and buyer would want. Now let's go over to the structure. It's so important when I train realtors on scripts, on sales, on talking to people at the door, listing appointment, buyer consult, that you understand the structure of how this all works. Because then you can kind of go on the fly. When someone presents something to you, you can kind of wing it because you know the structure. You've practiced this over and over again. So here's the structure. I've got said person, I don't know what they're doing, maybe a dance. I've got said person that says, hey, this is the value that I want. This is my pain point. Maybe you're at a listing appointment and you're saying, hey, what is it that you're looking for from me today in order to feel comfortable to have me be the one that lists your home to put the money in your pocket? Or hey, when you sell this home and you bought the next one and you're sitting in the backyard, you're talking to your neighbors, you're having a barbecue, and they're like, wow, that seemed like such a smooth process. What's one or two things that went well? And why did it go so smooth? And they tell you, boom, you've extracted the value, the pain points that they want. Now you got to present your value. This structure works for every single value that you're going to present to buyer, investor, or seller. So this is how it works. You take whatever value prop. Let's do social media for an example. So social media. Okay, that's our value prop that we're going to explain. It could be stress-free. It could be that you're going to execute. It could be that you're going to prospect and go find the buyer, whatever it is, okay? There's so many different ways to create value, but we're just going to use this one as an example. There's 3 different parts to every value prop. The first thing is right here, okay? Number 1, it's called pieces to the puzzle. And I'll zoom in. Pieces to the puzzle. You have to figure out where that client is on this topic. Do they think social media is important? Do they use social media? Do their buyers use social media? How do they use social media? What are they doing when they're on social media? Do they think it's even beneficial to market their home on social media? Before you start going through your value prop, you got to figure out what pieces are either missing or that are called hot buttons. You're looking for that. You're looking for what is it that triggers them on this specific value prop. Okay? The second piece right here, number 2. The second piece is you got to talk about what most realtors are doing. You have to create an issue. The best salespeople in any industry are really, really good at creating problems, showing the prospect that there's a problem, and then coming back and solving it. If the prospect doesn't even think that there's a problem, that they don't need to solve it. There's no need to solve it. There's no issue. There's no need to hire you. You don't look any different than any other realtor. So if we just go off of just social media, you could talk about ads and how no realtor knows how to use ads. And are ads important? Why do companies do ads? Why do Super Bowl commercials spend over, several $1 million on ads? What is the goal there? And then you could talk about a video. Only 9% of realtors use a social media listing video. Is that important? What happens if we don't do that? What happens if we do that? What are most realtors doing? And if you don't have a video, you don't have that experience, how is that hurting you? And what you do is you just go through all these examples, okay, of all like what most realtors are doing, and you're highlighting the issue, okay? What are your thoughts on social media? This is what most realtors are doing. This is the issue and the pain point. And then the last one is, what do you do differently? And so on this one, because documentation beats conversation, I'm going to show them. If you don't have any videos, show someone from your team. I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to say, hey, this is a video that we did for one of your neighbors. What are your thoughts? Here you go. And I'm going to show them the video, and they're going to walk through it. I'm also going to talk about how there's a 400% return when you use a video. Would that be beneficial to them? How much more money could we net them by simply getting 50,000 more eyeballs on their home? And then I'm going to talk about pictures. Most realtors don't use professional pictures because they're cheapos and they don't want to fork out the money. But what do pictures do? Most realtors, if they do like 100+ pictures. But just like a movie preview, do people get excited about the movie just reading about it online? Or do they get excited about it when they watch the preview? So why do we have 100 pictures? Why not have the best 12? Do buyers buy homes when they look at it online or when they walk through the home? So why would it be beneficial to have that same strategy? And so what you're doing is you're solving the issues over and over. But you have to make sure that you follow this process. Any value prop right here comes from listening to them. You pulled out their pain points, by asking questions. They told you what's important to them. All of a sudden you decide to go through that value prop and you follow this process, and it works every time. Collect pieces of the puzzle, go over here and talk about what most realtors do, create that pain. You guys have heard me talk about this before, but it's like a pebble in your shoe, right? If I have a pebble or a rock in my shoe and I'm walking, it's like, ugh, that's so annoying. At some point, I'm gonna stop, take my shoe off, and take the rock out. It's the same thing. You've got to create that pain to a point where they're like, wow, that is an issue. Ha ha ha, lucky for you. You're in front of a realtor that can solve that, and let me show you how. Okay? And you can literally map this out on every value prop. That way you have examples and stats and statistics and past client success wins for every single value prop. So this could be communication. This could be getting top dollar. It could be a smooth process. It could be anything. Anything can go there, but this is the process that you're gonna follow. This has been one of the greatest strategies for me to close people at a really high rate on the buy side and on the listing side, and investors. And this is what we're training all the realtors in our Explode coaching program how to do, so that they can create the pain, communicate their value properly, and close more people. There's so much competition in your market. The only way that they're gonna choose you is if you can follow this model, communicate your value, and close the deal. This year, as we wrap up January, we go into the next month, focus on this skill. Go acquire these skills right here, so you can get better at presenting your value props so more people close. If you have 10 appointments a week, holy smokes, you're killing it, but you're not closing them. This is the issue. If you only have 1 appointment a week or 0, well, you can't even get to this point. So we got to focus on your work ethic and then translate that to the skills. But I'd highly recommend to make this a priority here in 2025. All right, let's wrap up. So what did you see today? Do you think this would be important to help you go close more deals? Hopefully you did. But again, this takes repetition. Just like Steph Curry, the example I used at the beginning, you've got to have more at bats. And as you do, you're going to get better and more efficient. Steph Curry puts up a lot of shots at practice every day. He's 17, 18 years into the league, and he's still one of the best players in the league, still crushing records because he practices every day. So you should have a set time every day set aside to practice your skills. Go through your scripts, practice in front of a mirror, and then join a role play group like ours for $200 a month, where you can role play with other people twice a day. But nothing's going to beat talking to people in their homes, on their doorsteps, on the phones, to get better at this. If you can follow the model from today, you'll close more people and you'll have a more explosive year. Hopefully this is something that you prioritize, and if you do, I know you'll close more deals. Thanks for watching this episode. Shoot me a text if you want to work on this together. I literally take calls all the time, and I'll go through your value props and we'll practice them together. If that's something that you want to do, in the comments down here at the bottom, for those that are still watching, put value proposition. I'll shoot you a text, we'll hop on the phone, and I'll help you build this for free. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.